In this video, I'm going to show you how to arrange UK bassline drums. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pick a BPM, and normally anywhere from 128 to 140 BPM is about the range you want for bassline. If you're going on the more aggressive, wobbly side, it's normally 140, and then if you're going for the more like techie side of things, it's normally 128. For example, Taiki New Light stuff is normally on the lower BPM range, and then stuff like Burger Boy is on the higher 140 BPM range. So in UK bassline drums, there's typically 4 elements on the drop. There's the kick drum, the claps, the hats, and then any percussion on top of that. So I've already created the first 16 bars here, but in my drop, I normally have 2 sets of 16 bars. So what I'm going to do is recreate exactly this just over here so you can see exactly how I've done it. So let's start with the kick drum. So if we open this up, I've literally just got one kick drum here, as you can see, and it's just got a limiter on it and nothing else. So this is one of the kick drums I've made, and then if I just Control D it, I can just copy it across, and then you see here, this is 1 bar, and in 1 bar there's 4 kicks. So a kick hits every single beat like this. So we're just going to duplicate this for 16 bars. So there's 1 set, 2, 3, 4. And then that's our kick drum done. So when you're first starting out creating a tune, just get a kick drum down. Don't spend too long looking for a sample, because you're probably going to change it out later down the line anyway. So when you've actually developed your tune, and say you need to change out the kick drum sample, what you can do, instead of having to change each one individually, is you can come down to here and then right click here and then do manage sample file. And then if I want to change that now, I can just grab a different kick drum. So I go to my samples and go to like kicks. I can literally just do this and it would change all of the kicks to that one. So that's a cool little helpful tip for when you need to change out the kick drum later down the line to fit your tune. So that's the kick drum done. Now let's have a look at the claps. So I've got my claps in 2 main elements. I've got my main clap, which is here, and then I've got my clap swing, which is here. So let's have a look at the main clap first. So what it essentially is just a layered clap with 2 claps layered on top of it. So let's just copy and paste this across to our new area. So the clap is hitting on the second beat here, you can see on the second beat and the 4th beat. So it's happening in between the kick drums like this. And what I've done is I've found 2 samples that work well together and then matched them up by making this shorter like that, so that they fit nicely on top of each other. And then I've EQ'd out some of the lows of the second clap, just so it doesn't clash with the lows of this one. I've just got a basic saturator on this one. And then on the clap group, I've got a glue compressor putting it all together. So you can see that this, when I bring the threshold down, it's going all the way up to about 5. So I've got my makeup on about the same as that. And then I've just got a limiter on it. And then this just repeats again like the other one all the way along here. So Control D until the very last bar, where I decided to do something a little bit interesting to add some swing. Let me copy this across for you. This is the 16th bar. I've just got the first clap sample and added some claps in like this. And if we have a look, I've just added it here, here, and here, and it sounds like this. Just to give it some variation. Now I haven't done it after 8 bars, just after 16 bars. So now let's have a look at the clap swing. So this is where it gets interesting. So let me copy and paste this bit across, just so you can see what I've done. Just the first one to start with. So let's zoom in. So we don't need this bit, I'll just show you how it's done and then copy and paste all the way across. So let's listen. So I've found parts in the track where I believe it would be good to add them. So after the first clap here, I've added it. If we change this, I've added it in a kind of a random place. So it was originally going to go here, so it would sound like this. But then what I've done is I've turned the grid off and just moved it across to add even more swing. So we've got one there, and then we've got one almost in the same place here. Then if we zoom in, so we've added another one almost in the same place. It might just be slightly off again, like in a random place like that. And then we've got one essentially just there, but there. So just across from it to keep it varied. And then all we've done is copied and pasted it all the way across again. Control D. And then for the second bit of swing, let's copy this across. It sounds like this. And this is just almost in the same spot as this one. So it was going to be on here, and then I've moved it across. And then I've done that again here and again here. So it's at the third beat, the fifth beat, the seventh beat. And if you're wondering what these samples are, they're literally just claps that I've shortened down massively. So they originally look like this, and then I've literally just shortened them down until there's like nothing left on both sides. And then I've done the same with this one here. They're like really light fluffy claps that have just been shortened down to add a sort of swing. So they kind of work as percussion elements, but they are claps. So that's why they're in the clap section. And then we just copy and paste this across. There we go. Move that there to make it make more sense. So that is the picks and the claps done. So let's have a look at the hi-hats now. Now let's just start with basics. So a hi-hat in the normal place. So we'll do both of these at the same time, just because they're doing exactly the same thing. They're just layered. So let's listen to one on its own. So you hear that swing already from the claps. Crazy. Makes it sound like completely a different tune to if it was just clap and nothing else. And I forgot to mention the clap just has a glue compressor on it again, and the clap swing don't have anything on them. So this hi-hat is just a basic hi-hat, and then some of the high end has been cut out where it was a bit harsh on the ears with the EQ. And then again, this hi-hat, not really much has been done to it. We've just shortened them down a little bit as well. So these hit in between the clap and the kick every single time. So here, 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 and then they just repeat for the whole thing. Let's just copy this across now. So we got one hi-hat that sounds like this, and then one hi-hat that sounds like this. It's got a little bit of reverb on it, as you can see, the send here, which is going to this A send. It's got a Valhalla room on it, and an EQ cutting out any of the lows. And then both of these together sound like this. You see how it just sounds a lot fatter and wider and nicer than if it was just one hi-hat. Now this sounds pretty good, but if you want to add even more swing, you can. So what we found here is a little groove. Listen. And this is just from a sample pack. And then if we play this together with everything else, it sounds like this. Now it adds even more groove very subtly. And there's just an EQ on it and nothing else. And it's just turned down. And then let's add this in all the way across. And you can find little gems like this just by experimenting with different loops. Don't go too overboard though, because it can often sound a bit crap if you have like loads and loads of different loops. Make sure the loops actually fit and don't destroy any of the other hi-hat sounds. Like I had another loop in here that was just another hi-hat, but it made the hi-hat sound rubbish, so I got rid of it. Now that is the kicks, the claps, and the hats done, but we can do even more with the percussion. Now there's actually lots you can do with percussion, but I'm just going to show you what I like to do for the transitions. So the transition sounds like this. So what I've got is a reverse crash here, and this is hitting at the end of every 8 bars. So let's copy this in here, and then in here, and then in here, and then finally in here. And that's very small little swing element. And you can add longer ones or just experiment and see what works with yours. But these are quite good to get in random places. Just sounds like this. Just adds a little bit of something. And then I've also got this tom sound. Now I really like using toms in my tracks. You'll have heard me using them a lot if you listen to my tunes carefully. Like Ravers, I believe, has a tom in it. I just think they sound really cool and add a lot of groove at the end of the section. So I've added it at the end of the 16 bars each time. And then finally, we've got a crash here that hits 4 times. And that occurs at the end of the 16 bars as well. So here. And then I've just shortened each one down and made it quieter. Now, sometimes if you've got like a snare in your build-up, you could also have a snare in your breakdown transition. Let me just put a snare drum in percussion slot 1 so you can see. Let's try this one. Got to turn this up a lot. So we're going to have to add it in certain areas so it's swingy. So for example like this, so let's turn that up off. And you can do like lots of different groovy elements like this. So you could add it, try a different. And just find like little swingy ways. Not like that. That sounds pretty good. So that's another element, and you could try linking it with a cymbal as well. It just depends. That sounds alright. So yeah, experiment with percussion, see where you can get it to fit with the groove of your track. Try like percussion elements as well instead of these clap swings. So if you try different like types of sound for here, you could get something that sounds really cool. And that is the drop complete. Now if you struggle with any elements of these drums, for example the build up or the intro drums, and I can make a tutorial on that. But other than that, I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure to check out my website. There's sample packs. You can get pretty much all the drums I've used in this video in the bass production collection or the starter production collection. And there's also some coaching to get your hands on my website as well. Link in the description. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.